Shalom, shalom. All right, back at it again. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Chakadash. Double honors to our apostles, the elders, the great millstone that rule well. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect out here pushing truth and sincerity. The water for which I do, we love you. We appreciate you through the spirit of Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai. Shalom to y'all. It's your brother Dawud Dodd from the great millstone camp in Atlanta. Lord willing to give you an edifying lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai. Who the world ignorantly calls God, his name is Yahweh, meaning he is or he exists or he to be. Who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, his name is Yahweh Shai, meaning he is the Savior or he's the deliverer, or he saves, he delivers. If you're watching this now, you're a so-called Black, Native American, or Latino man or woman, and then you are a Hebrew Israelite according to the Holy Bible. You would not find Black, Native American, or Latino in the Bible. All right? Now, it's important to know who you are according to the Bible, all right? Because certain people in the Bible was promised the kingdom, glory, covenants, salvation. Now, if you don't look like a so-called Black, Native American, or Latino, but you feel like this is the truth and it resonates with your spirit, it's a good possibility you could possibly be a Hebrew Israelite. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. It only matters if your bloodline goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob had his name changed to Israel. Israel in the Hebrew is Yasharallah, meaning he's the prince of the power. All right, so let me see here. Yeah, because we went past this, right? We read that. This is beautiful. All right, so we read 1 Samuel up to 28. And we're going... Yeah, because remember King Saul went to a woman with a familiar spirit and pretty much got cursed out by Samuel. Rightfully so. So, continue on 1 Samuel chapter 29, verse 1. So remember what we're taking from this. These messages we're taking from, the characteristics of our forefathers. All right, so we're paying attention to the certain things that they're going through. All right, we're paying attention to the message because they're messages within these scriptures. When you're reading the accounts of our forefathers, you're learning how to be and how not to be. Subtitle reads: The Philistines mistrust David. If you remember, David ran into the Philistines, the land of the Philistines. It says, verse 1, Now the Philistines gathered together all their armies to Aphek, and the Israelites pitched by a fountain, which is in Jezreel. And the lords of the Philistines passed on by hundreds and by thousands, but David and his men passed on in the reward with Achish. It says, Then said the princes of the Philistines, What do these Hebrews here? And Achish said unto the princes of the Philistines, Is not this David, the servant of Saul, the king of Israel, which have been with me in these days or these years, and I have found no fault in him, since he fell unto me unto this day? And the princes of the Philistines were wroth with him. And the princes of the Philistines said unto him, Make this fellow return, that he may go again to his place which thou hast appointed him, and let him not go down with us to battle, lest in the battle he be an adversary to us. For wherewith should he reconcile himself unto his master? Should it not be with the heads of these men? Is not this David, of whom they sang one to another in dances, saying, Saul slew his thousands, and David his 10,000s? So now you know, all right, that is is a big, it's damn near like a rumor, and that's a lot of times people get killed like that, man. Rumors start, what I'm saying? There might be a misunderstanding between, messages getting, messages that are kind of like distorted, not really told within its whole. But in this case, that's not the case in this case. In this case, people are pretty much, it's the truth, The Lord's with David, man. Beloved, man. You see, that would die. But this thing, displeases Saul to hear that. He's king. You know what I mean? So, but it's like, hey, man, instead of just, living a righteous life and ruling in a righteous spirit, maybe the Lord would have, this is for prophecy, but let's just give another alternative. Let's say he felt, happy that David was receiving those, recognition. Well, what do you do, man? You can't beat them, then join them. So you make them, put them up there in the kingdom, man. And then when, if you're a righteous ruler, the Lord might, have you live into a old age, man. And now you got this young child who's gonna grow up to take your place when you die, or maybe what I'm saying. Who knows, man? But instead, you were wicked and you heard these things. So what'd you do? You were upset, But we know that this, I'm kind of doing too much here because this is the prophecy. This is the way that it went down. So let me just scratch that and just read on. It says, then Achish called David and said unto him, surely as the Lord Yahweh Shai liveth, thou hast been upright, and thy going out and thy coming in with me in the host is good in my sight. For I have not found evil in thee since the day of thy coming to me unto this day. Nevertheless, the Lord favor thee not. Wherefore now return and go in peace, that thou displease not the lords of the Philistines. And David said unto Achish, but what have I done? And what hast thou found in thy servant, so long as I have been with thee unto this day, that I may not go fight against the enemies of the Lord, of my lord the king? And Achish answered and said to David, I know that thou art good in my sight, as an angel of the heavenly Father, notwithstanding the princes of the Philistines have said, he shall not go up with us to the battle. Wherefore now rise up early in the morning with thy master's servants, and that are come with thee, and as soon as ye be up early in the morning and have light, depart. So David and his men rose up early to depart in the morning, to return into the land of the Philistines, and the Philistines went up to Jezreel. David's victory over Amalekites. And it came to pass when David and his men were come to Ziklag on the third day, that the Amalekites had invaded the south and Ziklag, and smitten Ziklag and burned it with fire, and had taken the women captive. So what you see, talk about righteous men here, taking women captive. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, guys, let's not get our emotions. That's how it was, and that's how it's going to be at today's time. And had taken the women captives that were therein. They slew not any, either great or small, but carried them away and went on their way. So David and his men came to the city, and behold, it was burned with fire, and their wives and their sons and their daughters were taken captive. Let me see. Oh, Salakia, that the Amalekites had invaded the south Ziklag. Salakia, that was the Amalekites that did that. Salakia for that. So let's continue, because I remember this story. Like I said, you read it sometimes, it's almost as like you kind of reading new again. You might you don't forget, but you'll read it again, and then it's like, oh yeah, I forgot this part. You got to read it a couple times. So Salakia, man, it was the Amalekites came and burned the cities. So let's read on. So David and his men came to the city, and behold, it was burned with fire, and their wives and their sons and their daughters were taken captive. Then David and the people that were with him lifted up their voice and wept until they had no more power to weep. That's off, bros. Can see I'm just broke. It says, and David's two wives were taken captives, Ahinoam and Jezreelites, and Abigail, the Jezreelitess, and Abigail, the wife of Nabal the Carmelite. And David was greatly distressed, for the people spake on stoning him, because the soul of all the people was grieved, every man for his sons and for his daughters. But David encouraged himself in the Lord, his power. And David said to Abiathar, the priest, Ahimelech's son, I pray thee, bring me hither the ephod. And Abiathar brought thither the ephod to David. And David inquired of the Lord, saying, shall I pursue after this troop? Shall I overtake them? And he answered him, pursue, for thou shalt surely overtake them. Without fail, recover all. Man, I tell you, man, see, this is what I'm talking about. So we're coming into, this is one of those points that I was making as far as paying attention to the stories and the messages, that the characteristics of our forefathers. He inquired of the Lord, you see? And I feel like even myself, if you're watching this now, you're listening to this and you enjoy listening to the videos that I put up through the Spirit of the Lord, for myself, first and foremost, there's times when I don't inquire. I just act on my own free will, which we don't have free will. What I mean to say is act on my own heart. So Salakia, because I really should have just said that. Which my own heart is what? Deceitful amongst all things. And it just small stuff. I mean, we're in the flesh. So let's just say I plan on changing jobs or I plan on changing states. And you might not inquire of your mentors. You might not pray to the Lord. And you just do it. And it ends up being a whole heap of trouble more than what you have started off with. You understand what I'm saying? That's called being impulsive and emotional, which that's more so like a trait of a woman, right? Men can control these things. Women, sometimes they can't, for the most part. Verse 9 says, so David went, he and the 600 men that were with him, and came to the brook Besor, where those that were left behind stayed. But David pursued, he and 400 men, for 200 abode behind, which were so faint that they could not go over the brook Besor. And they found an Egyptian in the field and brought him to David and gave him bread. And he did eat, and they made him drink water. And they gave him a piece of the cake of figs and 2 clusters of raisins. And when he had eaten, his spirit came again to him, for he had eaten no bread, nor drunk any water 3 days and 3 nights. And David said unto him, to whom belongest thou, and whence art thou? And he said, I am a young man of Egypt, servant to the Amalekite, and my master left me because 3 days ago I fell sick. Which that's off, man. But it says, we made an invasion upon the south of the Cherethites, and upon the coast which belongeth to Judah, and upon the south of Caleb. And we burned Ziklag with fire. And David said unto him, canst thou bring me down to the company? And he said, swear unto me by God, that thou wilt neither kill me nor deliver me into the hands of my master, and I will bring thee down to this company. And when he had brought him down, behold, they were spread abroad upon all the earth, eating and drinking and dancing, because of all the great spoil that they had taken out of the land of the Philistines and out of the land of Judah. And David smote them from the twilight evening until the evening of the next day, and there escaped not a man of them, save 400 young men, which rode upon camels and fled. And David recovered all that the Amalekites had carried away, and David rescued his 2 wives. And he inquired of the Lord for that, right? And it says, and there was nothing lacking to them, neither small nor great, neither sons nor daughters, neither spoil nor anything that they had taken to them. David recovered all. And David took all the flocks and the herds which they drave before those other cattle, and said, this is David's spoil. Spoils are divided. And David came to the 200 men, which were so faint that they could not follow David, whom they had made also to abide at the brook Besor. And they went forth to meet David and to meet the people that were with him. And when David came near to the people, he saluted them. Then answered all the wicked men of Belial, of those that went with David, and said, because they went not with us, we will not give them all of the spoil that we have recovered, save to every man his wife and his children, and they that may lead them away and depart. Then said David, ye shall not do so, my brethren, with that which the Lord hath given us, who hath preserved us and delivered the company that came against us into our hand. For who will hearken to you in this matter? But as his part is that going down to the battle, so shall his part be that tarrieth by the stuff. They shall part alike. And it was so from that day forward that he made it a statute and an ordinance of Israel unto this day. And when David came to Ziklag, he sent of the spoil unto the elders of Judah, even to his friends, saying, behold, a present for you of the spoil of the enemies of the Lord. to them which were in Bethel, and to them which were in South Ramoth, and to them which were in Jatir, and to them which were in Aurora, and to them which were in Sifma, and to them which were in Eshtemoa, and to them which were in Rakah, and to them which were in the cities of the Jerahmeelites, and to them which were in the cities of the Kenites, and to them which were in Hormah, and to them which were in Horashan, and to them that which were in Athach, and to them which were in Hebron, and to all the places where David himself and his men were wont to haunt. The verbiage is a little, when it comes to the Bible, man, the verbiage is, what I'm saying, it's not what we're used to. But nonetheless, we got, the major message here, man. Pray to the Lord, man. Inquire to the Lord, man. Inquire of your mentors, right? Have faith and patience and have mercy. David had mercy, man, right? You had men that they couldn't make it because, they were tired and they were hungry and thirsty. I mean, even especially, and then I bet you it's like those men thirsty, tired, and hungry is probably almost like our 100%. And yet, because these men were way tougher than us, who are we to judge, right? Who are we to judge? And David had mercy on those men when he had evil men saying that they couldn't get shit. Now we sent them on their way with their women and children, not having mercy, man. Now of course we don't, you don't let slackness slide, right? You need to work hard for the things that you want. But David knew that those men weren't slackers, and they were just messed up, from battle and whatnot, and traveling and whatnot, being in hunger and in thirst. Have some mercy. But hey, man, Lord, when he was edified, I want to end it off by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahshua, Hashem, Kakadash. Double honors to Apostle, the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom.